Okay, good afternoon, friends. Welcome to our second interview with Mr. Ethier. Andre, thank you for joining us, and we really appreciate your support and time.
Well, I'd like to also say that I do really appreciate participating in this mission to further educate rural India, and I think it's a great opportunity for all of you that are watching to get the information that Mukender has for you.
Okay, and before starting the interview, I just would like to introduce myself and tell you a bit about our program, our mission Educate Rural India. So, friends, my name is Mukender, and I'm from village Bilawal, district Bhiwani, Haryana, and I'm in Europe since 2004, and nowadays I'm in Paris. So, with our mission Educate Rural India, our objective is to motivate students from rural areas to do technically and scientific higher studies in India and abroad. Why? To enhance the economic standard of our villages. And I think education is the only stable solution.
I think it is, yeah. You're right.
And we also work on to open the free high-tech libraries in villages, and we have already opened one in my village Bilawal.
That's awesome.
And since May 2016, and our libraries are really high-tech. You can find computers, broadband internet connection, academic and literature books, regular newspapers, employment news, everything is there. And that is really very helpful for rural students to study there and to discuss what are the vacancies and opportunities nearby in India or abroad.
I think that's awesome. You're actually opening up your village to the rest of the world. So
we just try. And why we started this type of interviews? Because today education is very expensive for rural students. They need a scholarship to do a higher education. So with these interviews, we are trying to get the scholarship links, scholarship contacts, so our rural students can apply for scholarship and can plan for higher studies in India and abroad. So, Mr. Andre, could you please tell us about your journey from small town Pointe Claire in Canada to Paris, and about your achievements, about your academic qualification, whatever you want to share with us?
Let me start off by my studies. So I studied electrical engineering at the University of Ottawa, and I had a specialization in telecommunications. And as all Canadian engineers, I wear the iron ring on the small finger of my working hand. So it is proof that I am both Canadian and an engineer. So when I started my professional career, I started at Alcatel, and Alcatel was a French company, and this gave me the opportunity to expatriate myself from Canada to Paris. And I'm very glad that this came about, and since then I've worked for a number of operators here in France, and I'd like to say that Paris is a great city to live and work in.
Okay, and what do you think? What is the importance of technical higher education in your life, and what are the opportunities you got with the help of higher education?
Well, I don't think that my life could have taken the course that it did had I not done the higher education that I took part in. So higher education is oftentimes the opportunity to open yourself to the rest of the world. We work in fields, either it be medical or telecommunications, that require for humanity to communicate amongst us, to resolve the problems of the world. And when you further educate yourself, you realize that you oftentimes are in a crowd that is very multicultural and international. And in my past experience, I've been in meetings where there are as many countries as people around the table.
Okay, great. And as you speak English, French, so what do you think? What is the importance of a multilingual profile to get a job in France or in any other country?
Wow. As far as languages go, I think the more languages you speak, the better off you are. That being said, in France, obviously French is important. And as far as internationally, English is obviously very important. And I think that for people watching us in India, I think it's important for them to realize that they have, as being bilingual or multilingual, they have a huge advantage of having English as a second language, and not as a mother tongue, but as a second language. And that is that when you speak to an international audience and when you collaborate with people from around the world, you're better able to adapt and communicate with people because English is your second language. And I think that that's very important. It's a great opportunity to not pass by, to be able to communicate with people from around the world.
And there's one more point. Actually, students from rural areas, they have very low self-confidence. They hesitate to go for higher studies in technical or scientific domain. So what you suggest them to overcome these type of difficulties?
Well, I can understand that coming from a small town and coming into a big city to do your studies can be quite overwhelming, and it can scare people off. The main thing that I think needs to be considered and not overlooked is that when studies are done and when students come into a big city to do their studies, they need to realize that they are adapting themselves to two things. One, to higher learning and to the knowledge that they'll learn in school, but also to the big city life. It is important for them to then take on these two challenges and not to overlook that challenge of living in a big city.
Okay.
So I think that's the most important, to really get confidence in yourself, is to adapt yourself to life in a big city. Either through finding friends or cultural events or participating in social events of the big city. And I think that's important for all students to do.
You are right. These things are very important. And you know, the most important factor for rural students is the financial resources. They need, you know, without a scholarship, they can't plan, even they can't think for higher studies, because even today in India, higher education, you know, degree levels education is very expensive. So what, do you have any link or any contacts for scholarship so they can apply?
Well, I'm glad that you asked, because in fact, France and India have a partnership on scholarships. And as you mentioned, scholarships are very important for students that come from a rural as well as from a modest background. It is an opportunity for them to further educate themselves, whereas they probably would not have been able to do so. So the links that I'll provide for you are opportunities that they must not overlook, and they really should put their candidatures for these scholarships, because they are opportunities, and they will open doors for them to study elsewhere in the world, notably in France, which is a great thing, I think.
Okay, friends, then I will post the scholarships links and in the post. And one more thing, if you have any query, any question regarding higher education, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can join us on Facebook, Educate Rural India, and you can send any message, any email, or you can call us on WhatsApp, and we will reach you as soon as possible in a best possible way. And if anyone of my friend, if any of you want to open any library in his or her village, please don't hesitate to contact us. We will support you to open a library in your village.
That's awesome.
So thank you, Andre, for joining us and for your time, and we really appreciate mainly the scholarship links.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you all.